Okay. Can you share anything?
లేదు సార్, మీ ఫైల్ ఓపెన్ చేయండి. మీరు
Ah.
ఇక్కడ లేదు. డెస్క్టాప్ ఇక్కడ దీని స్క్రీన్ ఇవ్వండి. డే 4 ఉంది అక్కడ, అది క్లిక్ చేసుకోండి.
Right. Start.
చేయండి, డైరెక్ట్ స్టార్ట్.
Okay. Good morning, children. Welcome to English class 4th day. Before we start today's discussion, let's recap. Let's once recall what we had talked about, what we had learned in the 3 previous classes. Let's see. So what we had learned in the last class, in the previous class, the journey, the story of a father and a son, their relationship and their feelings towards one another. How did they feel? What happened while they were walking, while they were going to the bus stand? What happened there? We had talked about this. And before that, we also talked about the face sheet, etc. Towards the end of the lesson, we understood that the father, towards the end of the lesson, the father was happy a bit because his son did not waste money to buy a new pair of shoes. And the son was a little bit happy because he gave his hunting boots to his father. And with a bit of happiness, he returned to his workplace. Now, let's move on to the next session, today's session. Today's session is regarding the exercises, regarding the questions that we may face in the examination on this unit, on this lesson, on this A reading. There are possible questions we may be asked in the examination on this A reading. An essay is possible, a diary and a message, and there is also a possibility of conversation. We can create a conversation in this lesson. We can also create a letter from this lesson. But today, we'll talk about writing an essay, making a diary entry, and sending a message. How do we send a message? How do we make a diary entry? How to write an essay? So these things, these questions will be asked in paper 1, both in paper 1 and paper 2, section C. The third section, we have this kind of questions that we call creative discourses in paper 1 and paper 2. An essay is asked in second paper, that is question number 33. And how the question will be generally, okay, we'll see that later. Okay, in paper 1, we have got this diary writing. And in paper 2, we have this essay writing. Right, if an essay, right. Right. So we focus today on mainly 3 questions that are asked in the examination, both in first paper and second paper. And an essay is a possible question in this that is already given in the textbook also. The adverse effects of education. Education is actually very good for us. It helps us a lot. It helps us gain status, knowledge, job, etc. But there are also certain adverse effects of it. So we'll discuss that. And a diary. So diary is possible towards the end of the lesson. After reaching his workplace, the narrator may feel like writing something, or his feelings, what happened on that day. He may feel like writing diary. How will he make a diary entry? This is one we are going to discuss today. And the other one is message. In the beginning of the lesson, the narrator wanted to extend his leave. But due to some unavoidable conditions, situations, he could not extend his leave. But supposing if he wants to extend leave, or if you are in his place, maybe you want to extend your leave. How will you send a message, or how will you ask your employer to extend your leave? So these three things we'll discuss today. Right. Paper 1 and 2, section C. These questions are asked in section C of paper 1 and 2. Paper 2, first we start with an essay. Right. So the essay is question number 33 in paper 2. It carries 10 marks. How will be question generally? Normally, how the question for this 10 marks question is asked. You have read the story, The Journey, and understood education had shunned the son's physical activity or physical labor. So this is what we read in the lesson. In this journey, in this lesson, in the beginning, there is a phrase that the education had shunned my physical labor. The narrator says, education has shunned my physical labor. That is, it made me weak. Because of my education, higher education, because of my profession, my job, I forgot to do physical activity. I am unable to do physical work. That is, he says, I cannot carry this chest. I am not. I am weak. I am physically useless. These words we have seen in the lesson. So really, does this education really weaken our physical activity? Take away our physical activity? So this is the question. Education had shunned the son's physical activity or physical labor. Now, write an essay of at least 150 words on the adverse effects of education. So if you are asked to write an essay on the adverse effects of education, adverse effects means bad effects, negative effects. Education is actually good for us. Education gives us everything, but at the same time, there are also certain adverse effects of education. Yes, children, have you observed people when they are well educated, doing good jobs, good maintaining good status, but they lack in certain activities, certain things? What are those things? What are the? There are also certain bad effects of education. Let's see what are the bad effects of education. Now, if you start while writing an essay, before you start writing an essay, you have to keep certain things in your mind. What are the things? We have to give introduction, that is introduction paragraph. Before we start what we are going to talk about, we should say that first. We should give some introduction kind of thing, explain what we are going to write in this essay. And then we have to talk about the theme. What is the main theme? What are we going to write? What is the topic sentence? What is the main sentence? What is the main idea of this essay? And to this main sentence, to this topic sentence, we should give some supporting ideas. So we should go on supporting that topic sentence. And then merits and demerits of that. When we have chosen a topic, that is the adverse effects of education. So to support that, we have to give some ideas, and then we should talk about the merits of that that quotation, and then the demerits of that education. Sorry, what are the merits of education, and then demerits of education, and then we have to conclude it, give a conclusion. It was like this. It should be like this. These things are not good here, and then finally, so it should be good if you do like this. This is the conclusion we generally give towards the end of the essay. So let's see. Will you try to write an essay? So I have tried myself. I tried in my way. I tried to write an essay on this, the adverse effects of education. Right. Okay. See the beginning. Education is important to everyone to gain knowledge. It gives good job, status, money, and comfort. It helps us live and speak decently. It also builds confidence and courage to speak to anybody and anywhere. So we are here talking about education and its good effects, its positive things of education. What is an education, etc. You can also add one or two sentences, no problem. This is not a fixed essay. This is not fixed thing. This is my idea. Just to give you a model, I have tried to create an essay here. So education is important to everyone to gain knowledge. It gives good job. It gives status, money, and comfort. It helps us live and speak decently. It also builds confidence and courage to speak to anybody and anywhere. This is the beginning. Now let's see the disadvantages, demerits, or bad effects of education, adverse effects of education. Apart from these advantages of education, there are also certain bad or adverse effects. Firstly, children feel pressure and strain while reading and competing with others for marks and jobs. Children miss fun and play in their young age. They can't spend time with members of their families. Education also takes away entertainment sometimes. Education doesn't allow us to do physical activity. Hence, we become physically unfit and lazy. Some people become overconfident and feel proud of their job and position. Education also weakens relationship among people. So these are the adverse effects I feel. To some extent, I have tried to cover certain things generally happen because of good education, because of higher education, because of good job, good position in the society, etc. And finally, concluding, so one should balance one's education and status with relationships. Education should enhance our dignity. Education should increase broad mindedness. Your education should teach you to respect elders and not to insult illiterate people. So this is the conclusion what I gave here. One should balance one's education and status with relationships. Education should enhance our dignity. Education should increase broad mindedness, broad thinking, in other words. We should not be narrow. We should not become narrow because of education and our job. Your education should teach you to respect other elders, others, and not to insult illiterate people. So there may be illiterate people around us. There may be jobless people around us, but we should not insult them. Our education should make us live with dignity. Yes, this is what I tried to write. I read it once again in one go. Education is important to everyone to gain knowledge. It gives good job, status, money, and comfort. It helps us live and speak decently. It also builds confidence and courage to speak to anybody and anywhere. Apart from these advantages of education, there are also certain bad or adverse effects. Firstly, children feel pressure and strain while reading and competing with others for marks and jobs. Children miss fun and play in their young age. They can't spend time with members of their families. Education also takes away entertainment sometimes. Education doesn't allow us to do physical activity. Hence, we become physically unfit and lazy. Some people become overconfident and feel proud of their job and position. Education also weakens relationship among people. So, one should balance one's education and status with relationships. Education should enhance our dignity. Education should increase broad mindedness. Your education should teach you to respect elders and not to insult illiterate people. Okay, children, maybe here and there one or two sentences may be lengthy. We can also cut the sentences. We can also separate the sentences. For example, here, children miss fun and play in their young age. Here, you can make this sentence into two. Children miss fun in their young age. They also miss playing games with friends and others. You can make two sentences here. Yeah, you can make it more simple. And here also, education should teach you to respect elders. This is one sentence. Education should not make us insult illiterate people or less jobless people, etc. So you can also write simpler than this. So this is one way. This is I had to try write in. I had tried to write in my way. Okay, this can help you as an example, as a model to write an essay. Okay, children, I wish you all to write. I hope you all to write this. Try an essay. Please try to write an essay, taking this as a model, just an example. Okay. So you got this, how to write an essay, what are the things to keep in mind while writing an essay, what features to be followed while writing an essay. It should have a good beginning and it should have some points to support the idea, main idea, topic sentence, and then give some merits and demerits of it, and then conclude it simply. Okay, this is about an essay. Now let's move on to the next one. So this is question number 9 to be asked in paper 1. This carries 5 marks only. So write a diary. How to write a diary, how to make a diary entry. Now, the question will be like this. You have learnt that the narrator had returned to his workplace at the end of the lesson. That night, he feels like writing diary. Do you remember, children, towards the end of the lesson, the narrator got into the bus and he started towards his workplace, and he reached his workplace, and he'll think about what happened on the day. How did he spend the days there, how he felt about his father, and he may feel like writing a diary. Okay. Or if he doesn't feel anything, you feel at least, right? Now you imagine that you are the narrator and write your feelings in the form of a diary. Supposing you are in the place of narrator, and or imagine that you are the narrator for some time, for the time being, and try to write your feelings in the form of a diary. Okay, what will you write, children? Think. What will you write in your diary? What happened on the day while he started from his village? He started to his workplace, and there was a problem of carrying the trunk, and he could not carry because of his white collar job. And he thought that what will the people think about me? He felt a kind of false prestige in his mind, and he did not carry the trunk. And his father came with a solution, and he carried the trunk to the bus stand. On the way, the narrator felt very sad, very bad. He felt himself guilty because he could not carry the trunk, and he could not take the trunk from his father and carry it. So this is and then he felt very unhappy, guilt. That is, he felt that he did something wrong. Of course, anyway, finally they reached the bus stop, and then he bought a new pair of shoes for his father. And in this way, he consoled himself by saying that his father could carry it. He is physically weak, I am physically useless, etc. With these thoughts, they reached the bus stop, and he got into the bus and reached his workplace. That night, he feels like writing a diary. So, what will he write? Okay, you try your way in your way. I have tried in my way. I imagined that I am the narrator and I made a diary entry. Let's see it. So before we start writing the diary, let's see what are the main common features of a diary. So we should generally write a date and a time on the top right corner, and we write the matter, what we wanted to write. We just give it just a body of the letter, just like that, main points, and then we write our name under it. These things generally we maintain while writing a diary. Let's see what I have written. Right, 10 November 2020, 10 p.m. So generally we write in the night time. So I wrote time 10 p.m. Right, these are my feelings. My father carried my luggage to the bus stop today. I felt very sorry for my father because I could not help him. But I feel that I should have taken the luggage from my father's hands. I felt very sad when I saw cracks on my father's feet. However, I feel happy for one thing, that is, I gave my hunting boots to my father. I would be happier if I bought a new pair of shoes for him. So these are my feelings. So what I felt that, oh, it's really very bad that my father carried my trunk to the bus stop. Being a young man, strong man, I did not carry it. I did not take the luggage from my father. I should have grabbed it from my father's hands and carried on my head. These are feelings I have now. After reaching my place, I have these kind of feelings. And I also felt very sad when I saw the cracks on my father's feet. But I could not help it. However, I did not observe these things earlier before that. Anyway, I could not do anything, but at least I felt happy because I gave my hunting boots to my father. I would be happier if I bought a new pair of shoes for him, but my father did not accept it, did not want new pair of shoes. He did not accept it. I could not insist him to buy new pair of shoes. So these are the thoughts I have in my mind. So tonight after reaching my place. So this is what I feel and this is what I meant. Okay, children, do you understand? Do you get this? So we write the date, time, and your feelings. What are your feelings? Whatever you feel, you can write it, no problem. Maybe you are happy, you are sad, something different you felt. So generally we write, make a diary entry where something happened differently, not just routine. Okay. So my father carried my luggage to the bus stop today. I felt very sorry for my father because I could not help him. But I feel that I should have taken the luggage from my father's hands. I felt very sad when I saw cracks on my father's feet. However, I feel happy for one thing, that is, I gave my hunting boots to my father. I would be happier if I bought a new pair of shoes for him. So these are the feelings, these are the things I wrote here. So this is not a fixed diary, this is not the fixed thing. So this is my imagination, my feelings. So you can write your own feelings, your imagination, your ideas. Okay, children? Got it? Here, this is the name of the person who writes this. So this is how we make a diary entry, right? Now, let's move on to the next one. So there is another question that comes from paper 1, question number 29 once again. This is for 5 marks once again. So there are some other questions. We are trying only 3 here: message, diary, and essay. Now let's see a message. So how will be a message? What are the features of message? What are the characteristics of a message? How do we write? What things do we keep in mind while writing a message, while sending a message? So generally, when do we send message? When there is not much time, when it is generally urgent, when we want to inform immediately. In these situations, we write a message. We send a message, maybe through mail or a letter or phone, mobile phones, etc. Right, right. Where is the possibility of creating a message in this lesson? Now let's see. Once again, go back to the lesson, reading A. In the beginning of the story, the narrator wanted to extend his leave, but he did not. Do you remember this, children? Yes. He wanted to extend his leave after getting married. He spent 5 months' time there, leisurely life there. He was relaxed. He enjoyed with his newlywed wife. And then he did not want to go to work back again. He felt very lazy to join the work again. So he wanted to extend his leave, but did he extend his leave? Do you remember? Yes. He did not extend his leave. He did not extend. Why? Because there were certain responsibilities. He had to repay certain money that he had borrowed already. If he doesn't join the job, he will go into debt. So this will be a problem. So he finally decided to join the duties. So this is what happened in the story. In fact, actually, he did not extend leave. But I ask you to imagine that you are the narrator and wants to extend leave. How will you write a message to your employer asking for 10 days extension of leave? So the narrator, all the time this does not happen. Some people may want to extend leave. Supposing you are in his place, if you want to extend your leave, how will you ask your employer? That is your boss. How will you ask him to extend your leave? No. Okay, let's see. You try in your own way. I have tried in my way. So before start writing a message, sending a message, let's see the features of a message. What are the main features? What are the main points to keep in mind while writing a message? Date and time, compulsory. Body of the letter, that is what we want to write here, main point. And then sender address or name. Who is writing the letter? So that should be there. So message is almost like a letter, of course. This is a short form of a letter, contracted form of a letter. Letter is a big one. More things are there in a letter. A lot of things we discuss in the letter. We can write one page letter. In length, it is bigger. Message is very short message. So while writing this message, we should think about write date and time, body, and then sender. Let's see. So this is a message, very short message I have created here. 10 November 2020, 10 a.m. Dear sir, I am unable to join duties tomorrow due to certain important works here. Hence, I request you to extend my leave for 10 more days. Yours sincerely, my name. So this is what I wrote. This is the message I wanted to send if I want to extend my leave, I would write this message, send message to my employer. Is this okay? Will this be enough, children? So I feel this is enough. So you can write 2 or 3 sentences more, it doesn't matter. So better be simple, be short. If you go on extending, if you go on writing more sentences and lines, so there may be possibility of mistakes, committing mistake, etc. So message should be like a message. It should not be like a letter. Letter is a big one. You can explain things there. You can go on extending it, but message should be short. So once again, 10 November 2020 date, time. Generally, we send messages through mail or through our mobile phones, most of the time. So the main thing you want to say, I'm unable to join duties tomorrow due to certain important works here. You can explain this important works. You can explain here like settling financial matters or land issues, etc. You can give reason also. It doesn't matter, no problem. And hence, I request you to extend my leave for 10 more days. Yours sincerely, and your name, your address, your name, etc. You can write here. If it is a mobile phone, you need not write any address or something. With the employer will understand from whom I have received this message. So it doesn't matter, right? Okay. Learnings. What we have learned here in this session, today's session, we have talked about an essay, a diary, a message. Yes or no? So essay, you understood? You got, children? Let's go on to first one. Yes. Essay is a 10 marks question. This is from paper 2. This is question number 33 in examination. So questions will be like this. This is one example to you. And at least 100 to 150 words. An essay model I have given you here. And then we talked about a diary, how to make a diary entry. This is question number 5 in paper 1. It carries 5 marks. And how will be the question here? And what are the features of a diary? And model, an example of the diary entry. And then paper 1, question number 29. This also carries 5 marks. This is a message. How do you write a message? How do you send a message? In different contexts, different situations. This is the question. And the features of a message. So what do we maintain? What do we write in the message? We write a date, time, the body, and then the sender's name. So this is message. And this is what we have talked about today. about an essay, a diary, a message. And I think you have got the idea, you understood. If you have any questions, you can send by phone. You can chat with me, or you can ask me questions when we meet again. Okay, children? Thank you. Thank you, everyone. We'll meet in the next class.